Cuckoo. Hi, it's Kim today. We are back with our series of how I ended up in France and excited. It is Friday afternoon, so we're allowed a little apéro. So we have our wine today. So santé, cheers. I am here with a special guest, Bridget, who I had the pleasure of getting to know actually through Isabel. So we both know Isabel. Bridget is her name, and Bridget and Isabel were neighbors. We're still our neighbors, or I guess since Isabel moved, not as much. But they had met, and then I got to know Bridget and was like, what a lovely person. And she also is super interesting, has lived in France a long time, also has a family, and started her own business as well. So we are excited to kind of hear from Bridget today. So with that, Bridget, I will turn it over to you and just have you tell us a little about yourself.
Well, thank you, Kim.
Yes.
I'm really happy to be here with
good.
you. So my name is Bridget, and I'm originally from Wisconsin.
Yes, and we also share that connection. I forgot to mention that. Yes, so that's how we originally were like, how in France do we end up with people from around the same area? So, such a small world.
Such a small world. And I live near Aix-en-Provence now, but originally from Wisconsin, and then my husband is French.
Yes.
And so I've been here over 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're fluent in French?
Pretty fluent. I would say I'm fluent, but I'll talk to you about it later.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be a lifelong journey.
Of course. Yes.
With French.
Like all of us, for sure. So, and you guys have 2 kids here?
We have 2 kids.
Okay.
So we have an 8-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy.
Oh, lovely. Good ages. Similar to my kids' ages. So
yes.
That's awesome. So, Bridget, take us back on your journey. So, like 10 years ago, let's take us way back. When did you meet your husband and how did you guys meet?
Yeah, I met him, I don't know, it was maybe 12 years ago. I think something like it was 2013.
Okay.
And I was working in Belgium.
Okay.
Because I had been working abroad for a few years, and I had a mutual friend in Paris with my husband. And I was in Paris for the weekend by myself because I thought I would be moving back to the U.S. I was kind of getting tired of living in Belgium. And I thought, okay, I'm going to see as many museums and as many cities as I can before I move back. And I met up with my friend, and my husband was visiting her and her husband the same weekend.
Oh, fun.
And so we met through friends. But what was really cute is my French wasn't good at all back then.
Did you speak any French? Or
I had been taking French classes when I lived in Belgium, but I was really struggling with it.
Yeah.
I was traveling a lot for work, and I was having a hard time keeping up with the classes. And so I would say it was very, very basic.
Okay. And you worked in English in Belgium?
I worked in English.
Okay, got it.
I worked in English. It's a pretty international environment in Brussels.
Okay. Yes.
And and it actually ended up in my favor because when I was trying to talk to my husband in French, he didn't understand me. And he thought that when I was saying je t'aime, like I wait, he thought I was saying je t'aime, like I love you.
So you just meet him and you're telling him to wait and he thinks you're telling him that you love him.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it ended up working out. It was very romantic. It was like a rom-com. We were walking around Paris at night, in the dark,
such a cute
trying to talk to
story.
each other. And we ended up dating long distance. And then I knew pretty quickly he was
the one.
Yeah. And then I decided to say, okay, well, I'm not going to move back to the US. I'm going to move to the south of France.
Oh, okay. Wait. So take us back to 2 more minutes. What language were you speaking in after you told him you loved him? Was he like, now we should just speak English, or did he not speak English?
He spoke English. His English was a bit better than my French was, but we were kind of doing a mix of both broken languages.
Yeah, 2 broken languages.
Yeah, but we had a good feeling, and the fact that we had friends in common too. I wasn't just some a handsome French guy. It was a really kind, handsome French guy too.
So you kind of he was vetted through friends already. Yeah, that makes a big difference.
It does make a big difference. Yeah.
My husband and I also were set up actually through my cousin randomly.
Nice.
My cousin and my husband are best friends.
Okay.
And my cousin was like, you should meet my friend. And I had no idea. But I was like, I'm a little more willing to give because he was vetted by someone I trust. So it makes a difference. So, okay, coming back to your story. So you were about to go back to the US, but you decide to stay in Brussels. Is that right? And he lived in Paris?
Yes. Well, he was living in Marseille.
Oh, okay.
So he's from the south.
Okay.
And we just had the mutual friends in Paris, and we both happened to be there the same weekend.
Okay.
But yeah, I was living in Brussels. I was starting to look for like the next assignment with my company
Okay.
in the US. I forgot to mention I'm working in corporate marketing.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So I was working with that company in Belgium, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to go work in the US. And when it ended up working out with my husband,
Yeah.
I just said, okay, it's going well. I want to take some time.
Okay.
And then, I had been working there a long time, and they kind of gave me permission to work remotely for a bit.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah, just so we could start to build our relationship and see if this was really going to be it. So I ended up working from Marseille, from his house.
Oh, wow.
For a while in the period, and then the rest we got engaged and got married.
Nice. And was there ever a thought in your mind of like, I don't necessarily want to stay in France, or were you like, I always imagined myself living in France for the long term?
No, you know what? Because I hadn't lived in France initially. Like I mostly wanted to experience living abroad.
Yeah.
And when I got the opportunity to work in Belgium, I just grabbed it.
Okay. Because you were like, this is a good opportunity. And so you went directly from Wisconsin to Belgium?
No,
or did you
I
live
was
other places?
I was living in a couple other places.
Oh,
in the
that's right.
US
You
too.
lived in LA for a while, right? Okay.
Yeah, and it was from living in LA that I had met like a bunch of international friends that had like lived and worked around the world.
Oh,
and I
nice.
thought, okay, I want to try to do that, and that's when I started putting myself out there to get the first job.
Okay.
And so France wasn't like on my list. Like I didn't have a big dream of like, oh my gosh, I want to live in France someday.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it just, when I met my husband, it was like, okay, south of France.
Yeah.
Belgium is pretty gray.
Yeah.
In the south of France, there's like sun and sea
Totally.
and mountains
Yes.
and nature and flowers. And I'm like,
This seems good.
yeah, it seems good.
Yes, yes.
So we ended up moving here, and now I'm just super happy here.
Oh, that's awesome. And so you started a family here.
We started our family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what language do you guys speak at home?
We speak English at home as a family.
Okay. And that's been your language since like the beginning? Because I know you said you were broken English, broken French.
We ended up, I think the first couple months we were still mixing a little bit, and then we kind of fell into English, which has been great for my husband's English, and not so helpful for my French.
Yes.
But I think it's been really great for our kids.
Oh, I bet.
Because they're speaking French every day. They're going to the French schools. And at home, it's like I'm helping them speak English.
Yes.
And it's going really well,
That's
raising
awesome.
them bilingual. So
tell me about, so you are living, you have your kids, you're in Aix-en-Provence at that point, or outside of Aix.
Yeah.
Correct. And then how did you decide like what language to speak to your children and where to send them to school?
Yeah. So actually, in terms of the language, it was just kind of a no-brainer because we were speaking English between us already by that point.
Okay.
And my husband is speaking to them in French.
Okay.
And I'm talking to them in English.
Got it. Okay.
And then outside the home, they're talking in French.
All day.
Yeah.
Because they're in a French school. Okay.
Yeah. And in terms of the schools, we are pretty lucky that we have good public schools near us. And when we first bought our house, there's actually good international schools nearby. And I first thought, I'll go to the international school. And at one point I was talking to a coach.
Okay.
And, because I was just trying to figure out like what are all of my personal next steps, both at work and in my life.
Yeah.
And she was sharing that she had her kids in French school because she's like, you're not French like me, but she's like, they're French.
Oh,
and I'm like, okay. And so I thought, let's try.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it. It's going super well. And, we will see as they get older what we do for schools. But right now we're really happy.
That's
with French
awesome.
Schools. Yeah.
And what about you for like a community? So like your group of friends, are they at your kids' school? Are they at work? Are they within your neighborhood? Like, how do you meet people?
Yeah. So it has been either my husband's group of friends since that he had for years,
right.
because
That makes
he's
sense.
from the region.
Okay.
So they were super welcoming and accepting of me.
Yeah.
And
Great.
Fun fact, I didn't realize this, but we from Wisconsin have nice accents when we talk in French.
When you told me that, I was like, that can't be true. Not even just, I wouldn't even just say it's like the Midwest. Like I've heard that just about Americans in general that try to speak French.
Yeah.
Sounds like people are like, I would just want to close my ears.
Oh, really?
But that's what I've heard, but I don't know
Okay.
if that's like my experience.
Yeah, maybe
Or maybe your
that's
French
how
is
it
just
is.
that much better. I don't know.
No, maybe that's how it is, and then they're not telling me that. But I've kind of like told myself then, okay, I sound good when I talk in French.
Wow, that's
And
so good.
even when I'm making mistakes, it's they're very accepting. You know,
That's
they like
awesome.
talking to me. There weren't, you know, I moved here before the pandemic, so
Okay.
there weren't a lot of foreigners
Yeah,
living
for sure.
in the south of France yet. That has changed since after
Yeah.
the pandemic. There's more international families moving
For sure.
into our neighborhood.
Yes.
So yeah, we've made slowly, I'd say over time, like it did take time, you know, friends with the other parents
Okay.
at school. And now we have a mix of like French and Anglo friends,
Okay.
you know, from England, Ireland.
Oh, nice.
Even the US too.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. And tell me, so when you first moved to Belgium,
Yeah.
you were like in your 20s ish?
Yeah, my late 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges of like moving abroad in that age? And then tell me also what were some of the biggest challenges then, like having a family and living in France?
Yeah, they were two totally different experiences.
Okay.
So I'm really happy to share, especially if it can help somebody, you know, thinking about moving. When I moved to Belgium, it was such a shock. So I had
Okay.
previously moved within the US.
Yes.
You know, each time it was easy.
Yeah.
I made friends. I got
Okay.
set up. I didn't have any issues.
And what cities in the US, just so we know where?
So it was Wisconsin, Minneapolis.
Okay.
And then Orange County.
In LA. Oh, near
Yeah.
LA. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you know, each time was a great experience. So, and I had traveled a lot. I
Okay.
had traveled even by myself. So I thought moving
Wow.
to Europe would be not
Easy.
that difficult.
Yeah.
But I think you know, every step is hard.
Yeah.
All of the paperwork is hard. You know, finding the doctor is hard.
Yeah.
You know, and I just remember feeling very isolated. That was probably
hardest
the
part.
biggest challenge for me because even when I was talking to my family back home, we were on different time zones.
Right. Yeah.
And like they were in the middle of their busy day, and I was like at night just wanting to reflect on the day.
Totally.
Yeah,
It's hard.
and even I had moved my cat here, so I did
Oh, you
have
had
a
a
little.
cat. Okay, cute.
I did have a little friend, but he had even more paperwork than I did.
No. So it's don't take an animal abroad. Maybe would be your
Yeah. Well, it was nice to have
Yeah.
him with me, but it was tough. And you know, living in Belgium, there's multiple languages.
Yeah.
You know, there's Flemish and French.
Yes.
And so I was working more in the Flemish area,
Okay.
but I was trying to take French lessons. But the people in my French class were often like from Italy or Spain, so they had like that Latin language
Yes, already
experience a little bit. So I
Yes.
felt that they were picking it up super quickly, and I was just
getting
deer in
frustrated.
headlights.
Oh, it's so hard. I know.
Yeah. And then after that, moving to France, you know, I had now kind of the basics of French
Yeah.
down,
Okay.
you know, even though my husband was not understanding what I was saying. But I
You
kinda-
felt like you were doing
yeah.
it.
I felt more comfortable, but it was just a lot easier to move, marrying somebody here,
Yes.
especially with his family so accepting.
Oh, his family was very accepting.
Very accepting. Yeah,
That's
they were super
awesome.
sweet.
So tell me about now your journey learning French, because it sounds like rough kind of beginning, like people are picking it up faster around you. You and your husband start speaking English together. How did you eventually become at this point of like French fluency?
Yeah, I feel like it was 3 phases. Like
Okay.
phase 1 was just like the basics and like getting through all the paperwork and just getting the basics of the language. Phase 2 was really like learning to live in France. You know, now I can
Yeah.
do everything. I can do the doctor, the bank, you
That's
know,
awesome.
have social relationships. But I feel like where I'm at now is I really want to become French.
Ah, okay.
I really want to put in the work.
like to become a citizen, you mean?
Yes.
Or okay, yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really am happy here.
Okay.
You know, we have built our family here, and it's going to take even more time. So I'm going to enroll in school again. But you know, in the French language, it's such a beautiful language, but there's also so much between the lines.
Yes.
Let's say
I've noticed that
and
too.
so very often, like at a party, there'll be a moment when everybody's really into a conversation, and all of a sudden, I'm just not understanding
Yeah.
at all. And you know, that's the piece that I'm kind of at now, where I'm really putting in the work.
Yeah, to get those like, is it like more like I find at least, and I'm way below you, but like the idioms, like the expressions that, like one, for example, that I literally just learned, it's like instead of saying in the US, we'd say, well, that's out of left field, like meaning
Yeah.
it came from nowhere. they say like, there's a hair in my soup.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, and I heard that and I was like, I
Yeah.
have no idea
Yeah.
what that person, like, why are they talking about soup right now?
Yeah.
Like, so you just, it's like, if it's so out of context for the conversation. And unless you know that idiom, like I was on like, your brain goes to, why are they talking about this? And where, did I miss something? And is that kind of what?
Yeah, the idioms are part of it, and the
Okay.
idioms are really fun. Like they have another one when you're full. They don't say that they're full. They
No.
say like their teeth are swimming because the food is so.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard that.
It's a little bit unfeminine, let's say, but
Yeah.
it's a cute expression.
Yeah.
No, but it's even stuff like they'll know a reference to a TV ad from like the 80s that everybody knows.
Really hard.
Yeah, and it's and again they're always accepting, like if at one point I'm just lost, they'll stop and explain it to me. But
Okay.
I have still found that even after all this time, when I'm in a really big group and the conversation gets fast, there'll be a moment I'm just like,
you can't quite follow.
yeah, but I'm happy. Like it's honestly the hardest thing I've ever done.
Oh, really? Is
Yeah.
learning like a fluent
Yeah,
language
even in high school, like English wasn't my thing. It was like math and science.
Okay.
And
okay.
so like
so this is like now another language. Yeah.
So I'm like, I have a friend, my friend Julie lives in Switzerland, and she's always saying like, give yourself grace. And I feel like that's
so
the best
true.
advice when you're living abroad.
For
is
sure.
Like, you're doing great. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love that you're like, I sound good in French. Like
Yeah.
that's so good because I think a lot of people move here and they're scared to talk because especially, I mean, I do this all the time. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I know that sounded really bad. And it doesn't help like my children because they hear French and they speak so eloquently compared
Yeah.
to us. They close their ears when like my husband and I speak French to each other, like, or at least try.
Yeah.
Because the accent sounds so terrible to them compared to when they hear native French speakers.
Yeah.
So.
Are they giving you a bit of a hard time?
Oh
when
yeah,
you're talking?
absolutely. Absolutely. On every
Yeah.
possible thing. Like, and they don't
Yeah.
even help, it's like
Yeah.
you're somewhere and I'm struggling through a conversation. They're like, actually, mommy, he said that. And then you said this and that wasn't right.
Yeah.
And, it's like, well, you could have chimed in.
Yeah.
So yes, we go through that same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. My daughter is starting to give me a little bit of a hard time sometime, but
But most of the time she's probably pretty like sweet about it, right?
she's sweet. And I think that they're proud that they're bilingual.
Yeah, that's so cool. They realize it.
They realize that
Okay.
it's cool that they're doing a good job of speaking 2
Yeah.
languages, and so they know mommy's always going to have an accent.
Of course. It's so cute.
And sometimes they correct me in a helpful way, and sometimes it's like, Mom.
Yeah. It's like, that wasn't good. And how often do you guys go back to the U.S.?
Now with the 2 kids, I would say once per year, maybe twice.
Okay.
When we just had 1 kid,
Yeah.
it was more like 2 or 3 times
Oh,
per
wow.
year.
Pretty often. Okay.
So I think, my son is 4. He's still a little bit
Yeah.
wiggly.
Yeah.
I think when he's older, we can try to go back to going
a couple
more
times.
times. But
Okay.
it was important to me when I made the decision to live here
Yeah.
that I would be going back home.
Yeah. Pretty frequent, like at least a couple times a year.
Yeah, I really wanted to be able to get home, especially if there was ever an emergency.
For sure. Yeah.
And then just to keep the connections. So
Yeah.
I work hard at that, and my family works hard at
No,
that
that's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
Did they visit you too?
Yes.
Okay.
I was really lucky because my parents like to travel.
That's awesome.
So every time they came here, they saw me, and then they would visit another corner of France.
Oh, that's so nice.
Which is really sweet.
So you've had a good, like, it hasn't been super challenging to try to balance both.
Yeah, for the most part, we've done, it's been okay. And I have to say, there was something my husband said, even in our wedding vows,
Yeah.
that I appreciated so much. And he said, I know it must be hard to be far from your family, and I promise to ensure you keep the link and never feel isolated from them.
Oh, that's so sweet. You still remember it.
I still remember it, and
Oh.
it just meant so much to me. It meant so much to my
Yeah.
family, and I
That's so
just
great.
feel like for anybody, listening and thinking of living abroad
Yeah.
for a long term, like that peace and that support from your partner
Makes a huge difference.
Yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
Yeah. So that, because they have empathy of what you're going through
Yeah.
and like that it's going to be hard sometimes. And that, I still get, I don't know if you feel this way, but sometimes, we miss things in the US, like birthday parties, events,
Yeah.
Christmases, and
Yeah.
you wake up to like photos and then you get this like sad feeling. And, it's like, you kind of want someone else to sort of understand that at least. And yeah, it's really nice you've found that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then, so how do your kids, would they classify themselves as like, we're French, or would they be like, we're French American, or how do you?
I think my son doesn't understand yet, but my daughter considers herself French and American.
Okay, that's cute.
She loves going back to the U.S.
Oh.
She likes the playgrounds.
Oh, of course, because they're so much better
They're
in the
so
US. Nice. My kids, that's the one thing when they're like, wait, where? This is a playground? I'm like, yeah, it's really sad in France.
Yeah, we were in Chicago in Lincoln Park.
It's so
and
nice.
They had that big Oz
Yes.
Park. And my daughter was like, it's so nice because they have things for the little kids and for the big kids.
I know.
And I'm like, yes. So maybe, you know, she's writing pretty good now. Maybe she'll start the little letter to the mayor with her classmates.
Well, I hope.
Now.
We could use like one nice
bit.
playground, please. I know. You know, Isabel and I on one of our episodes talked about why there are no like beautifully designed, amazing playgrounds in France.
Yeah.
And our hypothesis, and tell me if you agree, was culturally, like the French are less focused on doing kid-centric things instead of more like family-centric things. And a playground is like a very kid-centric thing. Like you wouldn't find French families all just like, let's meet up at the playground on a Saturday afternoon. Like that's probably not the go-to activity that's centered just around the child and not very enjoyable for the parent. Do you agree?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if that's it or if it's just they haven't had it and so they're really not doing it. You know, a lot of families will take walks all together.
Yes.
But you know, with even some of my friends that live in our town, we're like, oh, we need a playground for the big kids.
Oh, totally. So you guys, even the French families are craving a playground. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then maybe it's just, we don't know it yet.
Yeah.
So,
No,
okay.
I'm not really sure. So.
No worries. Okay. So we talked about challenges, obviously some of the rewards, your kids are completely bilingual.
Yeah.
What other like rewards or benefits would you say are like you enjoy living in France or that your family enjoys?
Gosh, there's so many.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's so many. France is a really great country.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And I really even felt a difference just when I moved from Belgium to France because I felt like France has a really big national pride.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that in Belgium because they have, you know, the Wallonia and Flanders and, you know, the different regions. But I feel like in France, you know, everybody is buying things made in France.
Yeah, for sure.
Eating the food made in France. You know, there's just a big national pride, I think, in just how gorgeous.
Oh my gosh,
1,000%.
Totally.
Yeah. And so, you know, I'm a nature lover. Our families are nature lovers.
That's
and
awesome.
I think the region where we live
is
great for that.
Yes, for sure.
You know, there's the mountains, the
San
sea,
Victoire,
everything.
The Mediterranean. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. So I think just getting the opportunity to integrate into France and live here and experience the beauty and the rhythm
that's awesome
of this country is really special. I don't know. And I also, you know, I mentioned I was working in corporate and it's just so diverse.
Yeah.
So I'm working with like Europe, Middle East, Africa.
Wow, that's great.
And it's just really cool to get to work in this like EMEA environment where you're meeting all of these different cultures.
So
and
cool.
Getting exposed to different ways of working.
Yes.
Like some cultures are like much more hierarchical.
Yeah.
And some are more flat,
yeah.
you know, and some in terms of like the way that you communicate together, like very direct.
Yes.
And some are more, you know, being from the Midwest, we're like very
Yes.
indirect.
So you've had to like adapt your style.
I've had to adapt. Yeah, I've had to adapt my style. It's been a journey.
Yes, it's hard. It's hard. I've worked internationally as well, like just with a lot of different. And you almost have to like every meeting you go into, you're like, oh, and then I have to sort of appeal to this group and this group and this group, and it's like very mind intensive actually to think about. There's like a lot of factors.
There are a lot of factors, but it makes it fun.
Yes, that's awesome. Very cool.
But I remember when I first moved here, and this was before we were all doing Teams meetings. You know, the conference call was just like the microphone in the middle of the room. And I remember we were talking to like the headquarters in the U.S. that was based in Minnesota.
Okay.
And the Minnesotans were saying, "Oh, it's interesting." And the Europeans, I was in the room with
Yeah.
the Europeans, and they're like, "Oh, good, it's interesting." And I'm like,
No, that doesn't
no,
mean
no.
that it's good.
Interesting in Midwest
Yeah.
doesn't mean good. It
No,
means
it means like, I'm not sure about this. Yeah. There's like contextual.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah.
So that
you have
took
to-
some time. So I would say it's rewarding overall.
That's awesome.
Even though it does come with its challenges then too.
Well, of course. And let's talk about, I'm obsessed with your At Provençal kitchen.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit about what you started, what was like the inspiration, what it is, just for our listeners. And we'll all put this in the show notes too,
Okay.
so you guys have it.
Yeah, no, thanks for asking. So I have an Instagram
Yes.
and TikTok actually called Provençal Kitchen. And I'm sharing seasonal cooking and life in Provence.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And honestly, I just want to eat everything you're making.
Thank you.
I'm always like, I wish
Yeah.
you could just be at my house right now because I just want that.
Thank you.
But it also seems like it's enjoyable for you. Like you can tell you're
Yeah. So right now it's a hobby.
Okay.
And I think, when I lived in the US, I wasn't cooking that much.
okay.
And when I moved to Europe, I found a lot less like ready-made Trader Joe's
for
things.
sure.
And I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to cook. So I started learning like basic recipes.
Okay.
But then when I moved to France, it just opened a whole new passion, I
Oh,
would
wow.
say. I think that there's really a strong food culture in France.
Yeah,
there's
for sure.
really a rhythm, a beauty to how people focus on food, prepare food,
Yeah.
and eat. Like, I feel like in the US, we ate seasonally, like winter, spring, summer, fall.
Yep.
And I think in France, it's really even the month or the
For
week,
sure.
just based on what people are finding that's fresh
It's
at the market.
amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I started really leaning into that. My in-laws have this huge garden, and they would come over with these crates of like fruit and vegetables. So I'm like,
so great.
I want to learn to cook vegetables,
Yeah.
so that they taste amazing. Because when they just show up like this, I need
for sure
a
you
couple
need to
back
know-
pocket
Yeah,
recipes.
of course.
Yeah, and so especially during the pandemic, I really got into it. We would have like a weekly vegetable delivery come with and then I'd have to figure out what to make with what came. So yeah, I bought the domain, and it took a while to actually get started.
Was it scary to get started, or just more like?
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna do this?
that was around the time I met Isabel.
Oh,
and
yes,
I really
okay.
have to thank and credit Isabel
Oh.
for helping me
Oh.
and encouraging me to start, because I was dabbling a little bit in TikTok for work because I just wanted
Yeah.
to discover it. Like, I'd never used TikTok before. And one of the first people it showed me was Isabel.
Oh, that's funny.
And it was like randomly, the algorithm is
Yeah.
magic.
Yeah,
All of a
yeah.
sudden there she is, and I met her in real life.
It's amazing. Wait, tell me, you could take me back really quickly, because I think she told me you guys met in like a supermarket.
Super U, yeah.
The Super U, okay. Which is like a
Yeah.
big grocery
and
store.
I heard a North American accent. And so, and then
Interesting.
I looked at her and I'm like, wait a minute, I think I recognize her. And I had just started TikTok. And so like, I didn't have like a parasocial relationship with her
Right.
yet. Some people you're following online, like,
You're
them
like, I know
personally.
everything about you.
Yeah, and
but
I
it's
had
kind of
just-
creepy, but
yeah,
yes.
I had just recognized her, and so I think it made it easy to like start a friendship. And
Wow. So you just approached her.
yeah, I just said, "Are you from TikTok?" And she had just moved to the south,
Ah,
and so
okay.
she didn't know anybody yet. So we just traded
Oh,
numbers.
That's so interesting.
And she's so sweet.
yeah, she's so
and,
sweet. So how did she help?
well, we got together a couple times, and then the first time we got together, she was just sharing her story of how she started. And one thing she said that was really useful for me is she's like, she didn't wait till everything was like perfect.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a recovering perfectionist,
I love the recovering perfectionist. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's
I'm a
like-
recovering people pleaser,
Yeah.
so I can relate.
yeah, it's kind of like great to hear that. And then we had gotten together another time, and by that time I was dabbling a little bit with trying to figure out the video editing, which is like
Yeah,
such
that's
a
the
learning
hardest
curve.
part. I know.
Yeah, and she was encouraging me to show my face, because at the beginning
Yeah.
I was just showing my food.
Yes.
And then she was explaining how to do the voiceover to me,
Awesome.
and that was kind of like the pep talk I needed. So thank you, Isabel.
Nice.
I know you'll listen.
Oh, yeah, she'll definitely listen to
Yeah.
this. So that's a good shout out to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, she's amazing. I think we wouldn't have started this podcast without
Yeah.
her too, because
Yeah.
I was like, no, this has to be perfect. And what if we don't know how to do this? And
Yeah.
she's like, I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we did. And
Yeah.
it's been really fun and great.
Yeah,
So,
and like once you start doing it, like
Yes.
it just starts to come, and like the
More
creativity is so fun. And for me, it's also been a way, like after the 2 kids, to like get back to myself.
Yeah,
like I don't know
that's
about
so
you,
great.
but
No,
like you
same.
lose yourself a few years, and
For
it's
sure.
like, okay, now I'm back. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm really enjoying it.
That's
And
awesome.
No, it's really special in Provence, the cooking, the food scene.
Yeah.
And I didn't see anybody doing it like in a millennial kind of way
For sure.
with the video.
No.
So I just wanted to celebrate that.
That's so great. And tell me, so some of your inspiration comes from your husband's side of the family, which
Yes,
is kind of
definitely.
chef cooks. Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah. So my husband's family, they're all really foodies.
That's awesome.
I would say they had this huge garden. They were growing every fruit tree, every vegetable, and they were just cooking what was fresh and ready. And when we would get together for holidays, we would have like the long 3-hour plus meal with all of the courses. And so I've definitely learned a lot from them. My husband's also a great cook. And then we have, a chef in the family, and my mother-in-law worked for one of the nice restaurants here too.
Wow.
So I don't know.
Great.
It's fun. It's a nice culture, and it's been kind of a way for me to also start feeling more French.
Yes, I bet. You're like really engaging with something that the French, like culturally, it's so deeply ingrained in the culture. So that's great.
Yeah, and it's even like basic stuff. Like I remember my very first work meeting.
Yeah.
It was in Belgium, but my boss was French. And we met. I was staying at a hotel near the office, and so he said, "Okay, I'll come and pick you up. We can have breakfast at the hotel and go to the office." And I got my breakfast from the buffet.
Yeah.
And I got some I was like, "Oh, Belgian waffles with I'm gonna put some strawberries on them." And he was like, "No, strawberries are out of season. That means they had to be flown in from somewhere else, and you shouldn't be eating out of season." And he said it in a very kind
of course.
way, but it was like the first time I had really thought about that. And now, I mean, we don't eat strawberries.
I was just going to say, I literally, it was so interesting because that's been a big shock actually for us coming from the US, just like it's been 3 years. And I didn't even think about seasons. Like we lived in California, and obviously there are more fresh fruits and vegetables. And I would look at, Whole Foods is marketing this. And so therefore that must be in season. But if I wanted to eat strawberries in December, I was going to eat strawberries. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
But it's interesting here, it's either not available or it's super expensive, and it doesn't taste great even if you do buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good. You had that kind of cue. But I find tell me if you agree, some months and seasons are very hard to cook with. It's artichoke season right now, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, geez, how am I possibly going to make something with artichokes? And my husband's been trying, and I would say we've had some failed attempts.
Yeah, definitely. There's trial and error, but it's also kind of fun.
It is fun.
It's for me, when it's in season, I'm like, okay, let me find a few different recipes and try them.
And where do you get inspiration? From your husband's family, or do you look online? Or what's your...
I try a lot to get ideas from my husband's family because they know all the typical Provençal recipes.
So cool.
But I also have a pretty hefty collection of cookbooks in English.
Oh, that's awesome.
I bought them digitally during the pandemic. It became my pandemic thing. Yeah. Because they would go on, I don't know if you know this, but on the iTunes store, they go on sale for $2.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there were some really famous ones that I was like, oh, this is a whole cookbook devoted to vegetables, and it's $2. I'm going to try it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And what's nice with a cookbook, I think, versus just searching online is it expands your horizon in terms of
for sure
all the ideas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I start with the vegetable.
Yeah.
And then I try to figure out what to do with it.
Really? That's so
And then
cool.
if it's good, I'll share it on my Provençal
on your Provençal kitchen. Okay. And what's your favorite Provençal recipe that you make?
Oh,
I know that's a hard question.
Yeah.
It was not on the list. So
yeah, no, that's a great question. God, the best ones are from my mother-in-law.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she does tomatoes a la Provençal.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a really
with the
nice
farci,
one.
In the middle.
Yeah, and it's just it's because when they're so simple, you just have olive oil, really good tomatoes, garlic, and parsley, and you cook them, and they're slow, and they're melting, and they're a little caramelized.
That sounds awesome.
And you serve them with fresh bread, and
beautiful.
that type of stuff is really nice and joyful to cook.
That's awesome. Okay,
I'm gonna really geek out with this type of stuff.
That's so fun. And what's the hardest thing you've ever made, where you're that was really tricky, but I'm glad I tried it?
Oh gosh, we took a bouillabaisse class in Marseille.
Oh, yes.
So we had to buy the special knife for the fish.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a really long process to cook a bouillabaisse.
Yes.
And it was fun.
Yeah,
it was fun, but it is hard, and I haven't made it again after the cooking class. And you know what? It's because bouillabaisse is fine, but there's another dish in Provence called just fish soup.
Oh yes, I've seen that.
With the
Okay.
roi,
Yeah,
with the aioli. It's like a special aioli with saffron and some spice.
Never made it.
Yeah. And it's a lot easier. So
okay, so you just kind of take the easier. I'm with you on
with
that.
the two kids, we're
I hear you. When I first met my husband, he's from the South, and he loves like South of in the U.S. and he loves gumbo. And I was trying to impress him, and I'm like, you know what? I bet I can make gumbo.
Yeah.
The whole making of the roux and that stirring, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
I haven't made it since.
Okay.
That was like, I don't know, 12, 15, 13 years ago. But now I'm like, okay, I think I should like re-bring this back. You know, some things, it's kind of like good to try challenges.
Try again.
Yes, try again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, we're going to switch gears a little bit. So if you had to make the same decision all over again, you meet your husband, would you have still picked France to live in, or would you have said, oh, we could spend a few years in the US or a few years somewhere else and come back to France?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with our decision.
Okay. Is there anything you would change about your like moving to France, or what you wish you would have done differently before you moved or during the move or during your time here?
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare before I moved.
Okay. Like before you moved to Belgium or before you moved to France?
Either, because Belgium I moved for a job.
I
had kind of to start getting everything just set up, like logistically, I would say.
Okay.
So I'm super happy with the decision. I think if I could change something, it would be having more time to actually assimilate and integrate.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? Like just that you were like right away into work and like life, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh, now I'm living here. And
so I came over on a talent visa.
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, and I feel like when you move for a job, which a lot of your listeners probably have done. Like you're really diving headfirst into the job.
For sure.
The job is great. I'm traveling, you know, I'm meeting, but it takes really time to get to know a culture. Yes. And there's a nice analogy with the iceberg. Have you seen this one? So it's like on Pinterest. There's the iceberg, and they show the cultural iceberg. And at the top, the part you see is like the language, the food, the clothes. Okay. You know, the landmarks. Yeah. You know, and then all of the stuff that you don't see is like, you know, the belief system, the education, you know, the values, the family traditions. And there's so much down there that takes so much time, and it really takes time. Yeah. And so, you know, I think I've learned it over time, but it's taken a while. So I think if anybody is moving here, you know, just try to, you know, you're experiencing something new. You're taking a big risk in your life. Really try to set aside time for yourself. Yes. You know, and then the other thing I would say is like, try to connect meaningfully with at least one person.
Okay. I love that.
Yeah, because I feel like when you move somewhere new, you're meeting a lot of people, but it only takes one close one to feel better.
Oh,
do you see what I mean?
1,000% agree. Yeah. It's so funny you said that, because I was talking to another friend of mine, and I was saying, I've kind of stopped like going to all the events to meet people and things that they have like in the community and school and stuff. And she was like, why? I'm like, because I feel like I've kind of met my people, and I feel like better just talking to them, and like they're like my close friends now. Yeah. And that immediately changes. Like I think no matter where you live, I think, but also like abroad makes such a big difference. Yeah. Like you can't underestimate the like power of having someone that you can just like let your guard down, like cry if you need to, you know, get it out.
Yeah. And it's because like back home growing up, I mean, you have everybody that's known you from childhood. Yeah. And, you know, you have a whole big community that really knows you well. And so it's like you'll meet a lot of people moving here, but just at least having one, it's really nice.
For sure.
Once you're there, you're good.
Go with it. Okay. I love that. What other like advice would you have for people like moving or visiting France that you're like, I love your iceberg analogy, but I'd love to hear like, if you're like, okay, this is something our listeners are seriously considering, or they're just visiting France, like what are some of the things that you would say, don't do this, do this.
No, I think initially, it is important over time to integrate with, and get to know the French people. I mean, that's why you're living here.
Yes.
But I think connecting with other expats is also super helpful at the beginning.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of different reasons people will move abroad. Like it'll be for work. It'll be their spouse will get a job. And then there's like a whole community around the trailing spouse. That's its own,
that's its own group for sure.
Yeah. And because you lose a lot of your identity and your job and everything from back home.
For sure.
And then there's people like me that I moved here for love.
Yeah.
That comes with its own that comes with its own thing. So I think the mix of like being friends with locals and, getting to know some of the expat community is nice. But I think for France specifically, it's such a great country, jump in, like a lot of people will stay around Paris, but the country,
it's amazing.
The country is so great.
Totally. There's so much. And I feel like, I don't know about you. I mean, you've been here a lot longer than me, but like, there's so many areas that we've never seen. And we keep hearing about you have to go to this and this and this. And they're all these like cute little amazing areas that you
and
just
it's like the
explore.
more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
You don't know?
Because there's like, I don't know. Have you spent much time in the Var region?
No.
So like, I think like, American people, I would say English speaking people that come to the South, they're either in Provence or in the French Riviera.
Yes. Like Nice and Cannes.
Yeah. But there's like this whole middle area that's like probably the most beautiful in France.
Really? Isn't that funny?
Yeah. And there's like there's hiking. I think that's another good thing about France, that if somebody's visiting France, look in the tourist office for the recommended walks.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, because the whole country is connected by walking trails. They're really well marked.
Wow. I didn't know the whole country was.
Oh my gosh. So there's a map system called IGN maps, and everywhere in France has their IGN map with all of the trails. And then the tourist office can give you like little loops that you can do with your kids or like big cross country walks. So that would be my tip. Yeah, I don't hear a lot of people talk about that, but it's like one of my favorite things about living here.
That's so cool. We know the hiking trails, but I never knew about all the walking trails.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool.
I'll hook you up.
You'll have to let me know about that. Yeah. So that's awesome.
Okay.
And anything you say to people abroad that are visiting, like don't be too loud or say bonjour. Like, what are your sort of like, let's say you have friends visiting from the U.S. Do you ever say, like this is not okay in the French culture, or please do this?
You know what? I think it's okay. I think being too loud at restaurants is the stereotype. I think also we've heard it a lot, but like when you go into a store, you have to say bonjour.
Yes.
Right away. It's really important. But I found that, except for the Parisian taxis that sometimes are a little bit confrontational.
Yeah.
For the most part, French people are very kind.
Yes.
They're nice to Americans. If you just try to say the basic words in French, they really appreciate it. So I would say, be comfortable coming to France, be yourself, get to know the area around you, and just, be polite and nice, and you'll get the same in return.
That's awesome. That's such good advice in general in life. Yeah. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you, Bridget.
Right. Well,
and we'll be sure to
Kim.
put at Provençal Kitchen in our show notes. So yes, and let us know what you thought, and we'll be back with our final episode of this series soon. So thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.